This next session is an example of feminist counseling or feminist psychotherapy. Rita is the counselor, and you're working with a woman named Amanda on some life decisions that she's facing.
Right, right. Feminist therapy, in a nutshell, almost always includes a critique of power and of oppression in the culture. And, you know, the truth is, it's just as damaging to males as it is for females. And
consistent with that concept, feminist theory suggests that the root of pathology or psychopathology is not in the individual, but in the culture.
Right.
And some of the distorted ways in which usually a paternalistic culture might be affecting or oppressing individuals. And so the listening focus is on how is the culture affecting the individual who's in counseling? What ways maybe has the individual internalized some of the cultural forces and maybe even is oppressing himself or herself?
Yeah, that's true. Feminist therapists use pretty much every possible technique, but they almost always use self-disclosure, and they use mutual empathy, and they're striving to create an egalitarian relationship that really will allow the client to become empowered.
In the upcoming video segment, Amanda is a very bright and articulate and southern young woman who's struggling with some choices she has to make within the context of a complex web of relationships.
Yeah, that's right. So let's watch a little.
They never say that, but it just seems that way. Because, like, my parents were married right after high school, and my mom has 3 kids, and my dad has 3 kids, but they're divorced now, and so not the same 3.
Right.
But, and my brother lives right next door to my mom with his partner, and they just had a baby. And my sister lives at home still, even though she's in college, but she still lives at home, and my other sister's in high school. And my grandmother even lives with my mom, so it's like, you know, multi-generational right there. Like my grandmother, my mom, and my brother, and my sister are all right there. And so, and my parents always ask me, and my grandparents too, like, when are you coming home and when are you going to start your career? And so it kind of seems to me like I went away, you know, for a while, and now it's like, maybe it's time to come home and start a career and a family. And so I just feel like I want those things, and part of me wants them right now, but I also, like, really want to pursue this, so.
So one of the strategies you used to figure out what it was they wanted and to communicate to them that they mattered was sort of to take the time to consult with each one, it sounds like.
Yeah, and that was really, really huge for me, especially my brother, because he just had a baby, and I just felt like I needed to be there for that, like, season of his life. And when I talked to him, and he, like, really understood, and he said, like, if he were me, that he would go, but he's not at all, like, interested in, you know, going to another country, but knowing me and, like, hearing me talk about it, he can hear that I really should go. But he knows that I, like, really love him and want to be there, and love his daughter, and, like, want to be there for her. And so me hearing him say that and believing that he really means it, that was probably, like, the most important part. Yeah.
So I have to ask you one question that I think I probably know the answer to, but when you did this consultation round, how did you incorporate Amanda? Did you have a consultation time with yourself?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I kind of did all along. Especially like when I talked it through with my mom, and the more I talked about it, the more I realized that I really believed the things that I was saying, and I got like more excited about, you know, like the things I want to study, like learning about trauma and reconciliation in Uganda and Rwanda. I'm not going to Uganda. And how that is gonna like apply to things I want to learn later, and maybe like continuing my studies after the Peace Corps. And I just got like more and more excited about it. And so that was kind of a confirmation to me that this is something that I really, really do want to do.
How was your mom? Were you convincing her, or was she coming along with you on that? What was the relationship conversation like?
Yeah, I think I was convincing her. And I remember at the end of it, she was like, wow, I've never heard that before. I didn't know that this was something that you were so interested in, and I'm really proud of you, which was probably the biggest part of it. Like, I felt like she really heard me, which hasn't always happened or doesn't always happen in our relationship. Even though I had to like stop her from interrupting me a few times, and like redirect the conversation back to me. And then to hear her just like get it and say that she's proud of me and that she's excited for me, instead of, well, I just wish you'd come home.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know if that answered the question, but
yeah, kind of, because I think when we were talking before, you weren't so sure you would have family support. In fact, I think that was one of the biggest burdens in making the decision. Besides just the sheer terror, might be too strong a word, but definitely a fear about missing out on life's developmental pieces that were really valuable to you.
Yeah.
There was this other piece with the family's voices, like, come home, Amanda, it's time, you've had enough fun out there.
Yeah.
And then, so when you checked in with them, it wasn't quite that unanimous.
Right. I mean, of course they want me to be near them, and they don't understand why I would want to leave Georgia ever. Yeah. But they like really want me to be happy and successful and fulfilled, and so they want that more than they want me close to them. And so, and I guess I kind of, maybe I like hopefully knew that, like I hoped that would be the case, but to hear them say that, each of them say that, was really good. But also, I kind of said, you know, if I don't like it, I can come home. And so knowing that it's not like a permanent, forever, like commitment, you know, makes it a little bit easier for everyone.
So you had permission to give it a try from them, and I'm hearing indirectly that you sorted it out by talking to them, but I'm still want to come back to that question about how do you check in with just Amanda? Is there some way you do that after you've had those conversations?
I mean, I do like a little bit of journaling and a lot of praying. And like sometimes I'll just take a walk and just like be. So I guess that is checking in with myself, but I don't, like, I would probably go crazy if I like sat down and thought, okay, what do you want to do?
Right.
I don't make like pros and cons lists, really. It's more like I feel like I just like start to feel okay about things, and then I know it's the right the right thing to do.
Yeah. So if you were going to name the most positive role model in your life right now, who would it be?
The most positive role model that's like here with...
It could be anywhere, or a combination of pieces of role modeling that you've picked up along the way that you really like, how that person is, or you would like to be like them.
I don't know. Maybe like Nancy, like my teachers here. I think because, well, like, one thing that I really like about Nancy is that she is like super, super smart, but she's a learner. So, like, she is really confident in what she knows, but also like realizes that she doesn't know everything, and is like was really interested, you know, to hear from people and to like learn and like to add to her own experience. And so that's something that I really want to be. And sometimes maybe I do that too much. Like I want people to tell me what I should know and what I should believe and what I should do.
You like that value of her willingness to let in other opinions and learn new things. And also, she's really smart, and you like that.
Yeah, and really confident about her own ideas and beliefs, which I would like to have more.
Yeah, that's the piece I was thinking might be the role model piece. Like, okay, here's this really smart woman who isn't afraid to take in new information, but she's also pretty confident about what she does know and who she is.
Yeah.
And that's what I see you moving toward as you sort out the different voices in your life. And yeah.
Rita, in that previous segment, I noticed that you asked Amanda if she took time and how she consulted with herself.
Yeah, you know, Amanda is caught in the very traditional problem that many females find themselves, which is an expectation they will check in on everybody else's opinions and everyone else's needs, and they will do that first and sometimes foremost.
Right, and so feminist therapy is focusing on how Amanda can find her voice and find her place in the world.
Yeah. I have to struggle a little bit with Amanda to bring her back to a place where she can look at how she can find her way without feeling guilty or burdened by other people's expectations.
That's a big challenge.
Yes,
and
it is.
So let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Pretend like I'm not really saying goodbye. Because I'll probably, I mean, I'm sure I'll see them again. I'm sure I'll stay in touch, and I don't like making a big deal out of it because it makes a big deal out of me. And I don't really like that.
Makes a big deal out of you.
No, like I'm obviously really emotional, and so I don't like saying goodbye over and over and over again, and like,
So denial kind of works
hard.
for you.
It's just hard enough.
Yeah, so you're trying to find ways to make it not quite so repeatedly difficult and sad. Yeah.
I'd rather like take the memories that I have and take the meaning that I have from those memories and say, see you later, instead of like sit down with every person and tell them why they're so important to me and how much I'm going to miss them and list the things I'm going to miss. You know, I'd rather just go than do that.
So can I check on just one little piece of that that I heard? And, you know, it could be, I don't even like Freud, but it could be a Freudian thing that I heard where you said it doesn't make a big deal out of me. And I know it was just an expression, but the reciprocal of that process, if you did go sit down with each person that you're imagining, and you said, oh, Nancy, thank you so much for everything you've meant to me. And then it's pretty predictable that Nancy would say back to you, oh, Amanda, you were awesome. Thank you for the ways you took the leadership. Thank you for the ways that you were so emotionally available in class, and right? And I'm guessing that it would be hard saying those things and taking the time, but it would even be harder to sit there and hear back how much people care about you and your strengths.
Yeah, like just yesterday, I said goodbye to the family that I've been nannying for, and I kind of wanted it to be like a, well, it's been good. I'll see ya. And then like later I would send a thank you card or send a card like writing out how much they mean to me. But the mom, Andrea, like sat down and just told me like how important it is to have someone who she really trusts to take care of her kids, and like how big of a deal. And I know that's a huge deal. And I wanted to, you know, thank her for like trusting me with the most important thing in her life. But I just like, it was really hard to like sit there. I didn't want to cry and like get all, you know, involved in the moment. And it was hard to hear her like tell me that basically, you know, that they love me. And it was just hard to hear that.
What do you think that's about? Why is that hard?
I don't know. Because I feel like I don't want to leave. Like if I'm such a good thing in their life, I feel like a jerk for leaving. Mm-hmm. So it would just be easier if we could, you know, say goodbye and then maybe I'll come back.
But not to know how significant you were, because somehow there's a message that comes with that you shouldn't take yourself away because you're important and helpful to these people and they love you, and that's such a hard message in our culture. I can't tell you how many women I know who feel like they should clone themselves into at least 4 because these people at their church tell them how much they matter and they need to be over there and their family needs them, and then they're really good at their work, and then they're in a reading group and the group just wants more time with them. And how do you be a wonderful person who everyone wants more of and not go around feeling guilty all the time?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I did, because now that like I'm talking about it and you're pointing it out, I can see like it was so hard for me to leave Kenya and come here. So hard. And when I think of why it was so hard, I think of like the high school girls that I spent a lot of time with, and they were like, who are we going to talk to now? What are we going to do without you? Which really meant I just love you a lot and I'm really grateful for you, but I heard I'm not going to have any friends. I'm not going to have you anymore.
Right.
And then every time I leave, like, my family, it's because I feel like my brother needs me and my little sisters need me. And I know my mom needs me. and that's, yeah, I guess that's one of the reasons why it's so hard.
Yeah.
And why I don't like for people to tell me how much they love me, because it translates to, I need you. And I feel bad for not being there.
Yeah. So love can feel like a big burden in a weird way.
Yeah. I know, I feel bad for thinking that.
You just can't get away from it no matter. Yeah. But sorting that out is, to me, one of the big jobs of adulthood. Is I stumbled into this concept when I was working with people with disabilities, and it was called interdependence. Because I think in our culture, we either idolize independence, you know, rough, rugged individual, nobody needs them, they don't need anybody, or dependence, which is childlike, and, you know, but there's no model for how to be in the middle and to admit that sometimes you need people and sometimes you need to stand on your own individual 2 feet or whatever. And I think sometimes the burden of being a lovable, capable person is really hard, because you have to be the one that decides where the energy goes and where the helping goes. And then people are mad when you take it away, kind of. So love can even be expressed in a kind of mean way, like, I really love you, do not leave me, come back here and take care of me.
Yeah.
So the hard message of someone who loves someone saying that is, oh, I am so sorry, I love you too, and I believe in you, and I think you can find some new ways to meet your needs because I'm going to be moving on over here, but I still love you. And I still love that you love me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally
Felt like it was
does.
a little sermon there, but
No, it totally does. And that I'm realizing that I thought that I was carrying this burden of being so needed. And now I'm like, oh, it's kind of arrogant to think that that people like need me so badly.
yeah. I had a little bit of that same feeling when I was in India, like, oh, what, you know. But it was also this freeing thing, like, oh, okay. It's a little embarrassing, like you said, but
Yeah.
it's also kind of freeing. Like, then the job becomes to figure out who you are, do what you need to do with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel like a burden or a happy thing, or?
A good thing.
Yeah.
Freedom
Yeah.
is always a good thing.
You don't sound really convinced.
Well, because I'm thinking that sometimes it's hard. It's hard because then you have to like really look at yourself and figure out who you are and what you want to be, or
I
who
know.
you want to be.
I know.
But yeah, it's a good thing.
Well, that's something we can talk about in our next session too, if you want. May have to be after Rwanda.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
What we just saw is pretty profound. The whole sense that love can be a burden is a big deal, and it's also interesting that it's that balance of communion versus agency.
It is. It's a very tough balance to find. And also, I think there at the end, Amanda was facing, in a very endearing sort of way, how hard it is to experience freedom. Freedom we think of as very positive, but it's a burden in itself, that we have to decide who we are, how we're going to be, how to use our own potential in the world.
Yeah. Amanda is a very bright young woman, and I think she's insightful, and she has a lot of the qualities that make her an excellent candidate for feminist therapy.